Our Media Madness segment tonight, the mainstream media's war on President Trump has taken an awfully strange turn. After the publication of this book, Fire and Fury, written by Michael Wolff, the author has been making the talk show rounds, pushing salacious rumors about President Trump's mental fitness for office. Take a look.
I keep saying this 100% because it is 100% of the people closest to the president, to Donald Trump, believe that there is something wrong here, something fundamentally wrong, something that scares them.
The recurring description in the White House is of Trump as a child. And what is meant by that is that he needs immediate gratification. Always. Nothing can be delayed. It has to be what he wants when he wants it.
And it's not unreasonable to say this is 25th Amendment kind of stuff. This is,
did anybody say that in the West Wing to you?
All the time.
25th Amendment. They would bring up the 25th Amendment?
Yes, actually, they would say we're not in the mid period. We're not at a 25th Amendment level yet. Or they would.
It's alarming.
This is alarming in every way. And then this went on. Okay, this is a little 25th Amendment. So 25th Amendment is a concept that is alive every day in the White House.
Now, because of these allegations by Michael Wolff and because of their hatred for Donald Trump, the mainstream media is now questioning whether President Trump is mentally stable or if the 25th Amendment should be invoked. Although I truly doubt any liberal who's repeated the party talking point about the 25th Amendment actually knows how it works. We'll get to that in a moment. But for now, let's be very clear. If there is anybody with multiple personality disorder, it's the mainstream media. One day, they say President Trump's reckless tweets are dangerous to our country. They accuse him of alternative facts. And then the next day, they spread baseless rumors about President Trump's mental health, which not only is harmful to our country, it's literally not based on any facts. With me now to break this down, Pentagon spokesperson and one-time foreign policy advisor to the Trump campaign, J.D. Gordon. J.D., good to see you.
Hey, Liz, great to see you.
All right, J.D., I want to talk about your on-hand experience here once again. I know we talked about this a little bit last week, but you did spend more time with the president than these quacks who are quasi-diagnosing the president from a distance, violating medical ethics, by the way. Tell people from your experience with the president on the campaign trail, what's he like?
Well, the president's pretty brilliant, and I think that this is an attack on the presidency, and it's shameful. It's part of a coup. Most countries would call this a coup. Michael Wolff's book is shameful, and even though I haven't read his book yet, I have read a lot of his excerpts. I've seen him on TV defending it, and the one anecdote that I know for sure, Liz, that is entirely false is the way he describes Stephen Miller, for instance. He says in the book that he's supposed to be a speechwriter, but yet his speeches seem to be bullet points and he could barely coherently write a sentence. That is entirely false because I worked with Stephen on the campaign on many speeches since I was the staff national security advisor. Stephen is a brilliant speechwriter. I've worked with a lot of speechwriters in the past, including for 4 years on a daily basis in the Secretary of Defense's office when I was a Pentagon spokesman, and speechwriters in the Bush White House. Stephen is a top-notch speechwriter. So if Michael Wolff can say this about Stephen, he can say anything. His book has no credibility.
Right, and I think even the mainstream media at this point are just using the book as a jumping place, if you will, a pivot point to be able to, I guess, accuse the president of being mentally unstable. So let me just get this on the record. When it comes to the president's fitness for office, President Trump himself said that he is a very stable genius. The mainstream media and the left said that he is mentally unstable. What is your take? Is he mentally fit for office?
Of course he is, and the American people elected him. This is just a plot from the far left to take out a president, to undo an election. Of course the president is very capable. The president is right when he says that he was a reality TV star, that he became the president on his first try. That's brilliance in action. I mean, how could you argue with that kind of success?
No, and I also don't know how you get past Michael Wolff, like I said, the author of this book, his claim that 100% of the people surrounding the president talk about him being a child and talk about him being mentally unstable, yet Wolff also admits that he didn't interview any of the cabinet members. Who is he talking about then?
I don't know. Anonymous sources. He quotes Steve Bannon in the book quite a bit. He quotes some other folks, but unfortunately, letting a guy named Wolff in the White House, I mean, this is what you get, right? I mean, this is crazy. You couldn't even make this kind of stuff up. So whoever let him into the White House really made a terrible miscalculation.
They did, and I hate to waste a full 7 minutes on this topic, but sometimes these narratives get so wound up in themselves in the mainstream media that it's what the American people, who may not be as tuned into politics as you are or as obsessed as I am with politics, it's what they hear. And I want to make sure that the truth is out there, because this stuff is absolutely absurd. Meanwhile, while the mainstream media is doing this, they're distracting from what's actually been happening. What's been happening is a year of the Trump administration, and very, very recently what's happened is unemployment has hit a 17-year low. Unemployment and jobs in the economy is the #1 issue that the American people care about, regardless of their political affiliation. Whether you're Republican, Democrat, Independent, whatever you are, this is what people care about. President Trump's getting good numbers, and I don't hear him talking about that.
Well, they don't, because they just want to smear him constantly. This is an attempt to take out a president and undo an election because they don't like his politics. They don't like his positions on national security or on immigration or on the economy, so they just attack him entirely, and it's shameful, Liz. I mean, this is what happens in countries like Nicaragua.
Right. It is shameful. It's desperate, too. It's desperate because they have no policy rebuttals for the achievements that President Trump has undertaken this past year. So they just resort to the most insane ad hominem attacks that you've ever heard. JD, I appreciate your insight. Thanks for being here. All right, we have to take a quick break, but right after that, our next tipping point is with Amber Athey. Here's a story the mainstream media is doing their best to ignore. A grand jury has taken sworn testimony in the investigation into Bernie Sanders' wife, Jane, who allegedly committed bank fraud to secure a loan when she really had no money to back that loan. And we're not talking about small potatoes here. We are talking about $10 million. Stick with us for all the details.